Dead by Daylight has just responded to all their recent criticism, and their response has everyone pissed. Streetwise, bloodrush, and Last Stand have all been kill switched, but it seems like this reaction came several days too late. The quality of life update that everyone praised at first seems to have hit a standstill, and finally, I have an announcement. The blood point economy is at an all-time low. Global gen rushing continues to increase year after year, and the entity is getting taken out of our schools. A vote for Straz is a vote for blood point stimulus packages. A vote for Straz is a vote to slow down the gens. A vote for Straz is a vote to start putting the entity back in our curriculum for young aspiring killers. And you don't have to go to the polls to the vote, you simply have to hit one single button. But now it's time to stay in the loop. Look, you know things are getting bad when you have people from Dead by Daylight on Discord fighting with people. Look, Dead by Daylight's had some missteps in the past, but for whatever reason, it feels like this month things are going completely off the rails. Like, I feel like I had confidence in behavior, but when you see the way they're like talking and communicating with the community, it just feels like chaotic, like it's a dumpster fire. Like the people there don't even know what's going on. And it's apparent because there's someone from Dead by Daylight like fighting with people on Discord right now. So we'll talk about Streetwise in a bit, but if you don't know, a lot of people are calling for that perk to be kill switched. And here's what Behavior had to say about it. Community sentiment or feedback is 100% not a part of the kill switch criteria. So that's like a big FU. Like just because you complain doesn't mean it's gonna get kill switched. And it's like, yes, I know complaints doesn't equal kill switch, but a bug or an exploit equals a kill switch. Like, I don't know how they don't understand this, but it gets worse. So if that was like digging a hole for themselves, this person continues to dig. This is like graveyard level digging holes. This is like the movie Holes with Shia LaBeouf. Do it! They continue on saying, what I'm saying is that we'd have to kill switch 8 things right now that also fall into the Streetwise bug category. And that's not something we're gonna do. So now they're saying, oh, we have other things we'd have to kill switch too, so we're not gonna kill switch Streetwise. Which is like, that's not our problem. Just because you have other bugs, you're not gonna kill switch this bug? Okay, let's keep digging. If the game cannot be completed normally and is broken by a bug, it's kill switched. And game breaking means breaking the game, making it unplayable. So yeah, they just kill switched the meat plant because it was making people's game crash, which is completely understandable. But here they're saying, okay, if it's not making your game crash, it's not getting kill switched, which like that's not always been the case. Some people are upset because that's never been the case for killers. Like they kill switch Townmaster. Didn't they kill switch Skull Merchant? They've kill switched like the night before. Like were those killers breaking people's games and making them crash? No, but they just had like a buggy aspect to them, and that's why they got kill switched. So like the logic just doesn't make sense. And explaining the logic, they say the kill switch is a nuclear option. Kill switch is not a fix. I'm not gonna list every bug right now. I just think it's interesting that Streetwise has the most attention. Again, Streetwise is barely used and it's not the worst bug we have right now. So this just comes off as out of touch. Like the Streetwise bug is game breaking. Look, I know they have stats on pick rates, but I guarantee it's increased. Like there's a clip on Twitter of someone prestiging Nia just to get Streetwise. So someone literally put blood points into a character to get this perk to abuse this exploit. I don't know. People are pissed by this response, and I think rightfully so, because it just comes off as like out of touch. It comes off as just like having the wrong mentality. Like it's a stupid mentality to be like, unless it's literally crashing your game, it's not going to get kill switched, because that's not always been the criteria for kill switching in the past. So they dug themselves in a massive hole with this one, and they ended up backtracking because they kill switched Streetwise shortly after. So luckily they've officially kill switched Streetwise, bloodrush, and Last Stand. So for those who don't know, there was an issue with Streetwise that made it so you basically had unlimited charges on items. I didn't do the exploit, so I'm not 100% sure, but essentially from my understanding, you could rummage for an item and then you would drop it and pick it back up, and then it would add charges. So a user by the name of Scooby actually made a video on this. It didn't just stack, it actually multiplied exponentially. So that means people had toolboxes that were finishing gens in 30 seconds, and you could replenish them too. People had flashlights with an infinite amount of charges. They're pairing that up with Champion of Light tight and fixated. They're basically moonwalking backwards and stunning the killer. Or medkits that just never ran out. Like, it was insane. It got so bad that people were running hoarders so they could see when people were dropping and picking up items just so they could track them down. I saw a guy on Twitter running a tier 3 Myers, and he was just like tunneling out people that were exploiting, and he was like camping hook. They would unhook themselves and then he would mori them. Look, I don't have a lot of sympathy for exploiters. It was kind of controversial, but Behavior came out saying they would not be banning anyone exploiting Streetwise. And I honestly, I agree with it. Like, I don't do it. I don't want anyone else to do it. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is Behavior's fault. Like, if it's in the game, people are going to want to try to do it. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think you should ban people for it. Just like kill switch it. Like, that's why it's weird it took this long. And they also kill switched bloodrush. The issue with that, to my understanding, again, I don't play a lot of Survivor, but bloodrush paired up with other exhaustion perks was giving them like infinite exhaustion. Like, you could use sprint burst, I think, like continuously, or inner strength. I saw a lot of people pairing those up together. So yeah, I mean, that's a huge issue. Exhaustion is one of the most powerful things in the game. So if you can get it to like replenish, I think people were like mixing in vigil too. Again, I don't know exactly, but I know it was pairing those two to kind of abuse it. And finally, last stand, to my knowledge, was making people vault faster, which was not an intended feature of the perk. So people were using last stand essentially like finesse. So yeah, 3 perks. 1 gave infinite charges to any survivor item. 1 gave people more uses out of exhaustion perks than intended. And 1 gave people the ability to vault faster. So between those 3, killers' lives have been absolutely miserable the last couple weeks. Or I think it's been a week. The last week or 2. I don't even know the timeline anymore. And with all these bugs, it makes you wonder, like, where are we in the quality of life update? So I remember earlier this year when they announced the quality of life update, people were really excited. Like, people would rather have quality content over just like a flood of different content into the game. And where we are now feels like we're in a buggier spot than where we were like back at the start of the year. And a lot of the stuff they said they were going to implement hasn't even happened. So I'll admit the bulk blood point spending and the surrender options were good additions to the game. And as a console player, I also appreciate the gamma settings they added in. But outside of that, like, go next prevention is very like hit or miss. I know they had to kill switch the like people getting banned or people getting like suspended because it wasn't flagging right. Like, you can't kill yourself on first hook, but they like kill switch the program to ban people. I don't know. So that's kind of like, I would say, like kind of a fail. The new spawn rules were kind of weird. It was supposed to be like a killer buff, but I feel like solo queue was able to finish gens faster. The spawn of separation offering became really popular. And I don't know if it's just me, but I still feel like sometimes without the spawn of separation, survivors still spawn apart from each other, and I spawn in the middle of the map. So I don't know if they reverted it recently or if it's just still a little bit bugged, the logic is, but I wouldn't call that a complete win. The new quest system is kind of boring, I would say. Being able to preview your perks in the lobby is like barely a quality of life update. The anti-slugging measures they were going to add for the Chaos Shuffle, they ended up delaying that. And the map and key balancing are kind of just like, I don't know. I still don't see people using a lot of maps or keys. The main thing people were excited for was the bit they had at the bottom of the quality life update roadmap, including bug fixes for long-standing issues. That's what people wanted to see, and that still like hasn't happened at all. So I hope Behavior, still has kind of a plan to get some of this stuff fixed, but it seems like they just had a major setback with this past update. It seems like they don't have the resources for this kind of stuff. Like, they don't have the resources for the creator program. Like, they ditched the Fog Whisperer program for this new creator program, but like they continue to say they're going to help out small creators. And like with Twitch shirts, they said, oh, we're going to get Twitch shirts to more small creators, and that never happened. And then they roll out the creator program so they can bring in, more small creators, and that didn't happen. They just brought in all the Fog Whisperers under the new program. And the reason I bring this up again, because again, I've brought up the creator program now 3 times, is because not only, I'm waiting to hear back from my application, but I know a lot of people as well, and they recently gave us an update. They said, we know the wait can be frustrating, and while it's taking us longer than planned, we're still actively reviewing all applications. If you haven't heard back from us yet, stay tuned, we'll be in touch. And it's fine. I know they have other things, other pressing matters right now. Like, obviously bugs are more important, but why roll out a program if you don't have the resources to do like anything with it? Or why make the requirements 10,000 followers on a platform knowing that you're going to have thousands of people that hit that criteria, and you're gonna have a lot of applications. Like if they made it 50,000, you'd probably had less applications, and maybe you could still bring in more people or give people like a benchmark. But now everyone's just kind of up in limbo still. So it's just weird. It just gives me the vibes of that one guy that you see at the gym, and then he's like, yeah, bro, I'll see you tomorrow, man. I'm gonna start coming every day. I'm gonna work out with you. And then the next day he's gone and you don't see him for another 2 months. It's just disappointing. I'll be interested to see if they ever get this off the ground or if this is just like the Fog Whisperer program 2.0. So yeah, Dead by Daylight has a lot of issues right now, which I always talk about in my series In the Loop. To watch the entire series, you can click this playlist right here.